Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling one of the most fascinating and honestly totally overlooked mysteries of human existence. I mean, you use them every single day, right? To text, to cook, to work. But have you ever stopped to wonder why your hands actually operate the way they do? Well, we're going to look at human handedness, which is essentially an unsolved evolutionary singularity that has completely baffled scientists for decades. We'll be unpacking our deep evolutionary history and the incredibly complex biological recipe that makes our species behave unlike literally any other on the planet.
90%. Just think about that number for a second. Across every single human culture, in literally every corner of the globe, roughly 90% of people favor their right hand. And it doesn't matter if you're living in a bustling metropolis right now, or if you were a hunter-gatherer thousands of years ago. This ratio holds remarkably steady. It's just a staggering statistical reality that defines our everyday lives, shaping everything from the scissors we buy to the desks we sit at.
But this brings us to a massive question. Why are humans such an evolutionary anomaly? You see, an entire species almost exclusively favoring one side, what scientists call population-wide directional lateralization, is completely unmatched in the primate world. We don't just happen to prefer one hand. We prefer the right hand with an overwhelming, undeniable majority. It's a giant evolutionary puzzle. So how exactly did we get here, and what is driving this extreme biological bias?
Part 1. Our primate family tree.
Okay, let's dive into this. To get some answers, we have to zoom way out and look at the macro-level evidence. There was this landmark meta-analysis by a researcher named Thomas Puschel and his team, and they investigated manual lateralization across 41 different anthropoid species, meticulously looking at data from over 2,000 individual primates. Because, historically, the scientific literature has been a bit of a mess. I mean, researchers have thrown countless competing hypotheses at the wall over the years. Was it our reliance on complex tool use? Was it a shift in our diet? Was our growing brains? Or maybe transitioning to walking on the ground instead of swinging in the trees? All these ideas were kind of floating around at the same time, and without massive datasets, it was incredibly hard to test which of these evolutionary drivers was actually the real deal.
But when you plot handedness across the entire primate family tree, Homo sapiens stands out as a glaring evolutionary outlier. Other primates, like chimps or gorillas, sure, they might show some weak hand preferences in isolated groups or during specific tasks, but as a whole species, they generally hover right around a 50-50 split. The data proves humans are absolutely off the charts. We exhibit an unparalleled rightward bias, and the strength of that preference is just exceptional compared to what you'd expect from our primate cousins.
Part 2. Big brains and bipedalism. So when Puschel's team actually ran the models, testing all those old hypotheses against their massive dataset, they wanted to pinpoint what exactly makes us such outliers. And the math pointed directly to two distinctly human traits. The first is our brain size, which scientists measure as endocranial volume, or ECV. As the Homo lineage evolved over millions of years, our brains expanded significantly, requiring much more complex, specialized regions. And the statistical models reveal that this massive neuroanatomical expansion is deeply, fundamentally intertwined with the emergence of our strong, directional handedness.
The second defining factor is our posture, measured by something called the intermembral index, or IMI. This is really just a scientific ratio of our limb proportions. Humans have an extremely low IMI of 72. To put that in simple terms, it's the anatomical signature of bipedalism. Our legs are unusually long compared to our arms. Standing upright on two legs fundamentally freed our hands from the chore of locomotion, which suddenly allowed highly specialized manual tasks to evolve.
And here is the major revelation from all this data. When the researchers factored brain size and bipedal posture into their evolutionary models, our species' bizarre outlier status entirely disappeared. What does that actually mean? It means our extreme right-handed dominance isn't just some random fluke of nature. It's a direct, mathematically predictable product of our massive brains and our unusual upright posture. Those two massive evolutionary leaps basically laid the foundation for the right-handed world we live in today.
But here's where the story gets really interesting. We've seen the macro level, right? We know how millions of years of evolution, walking upright and getting bigger brains, created a right-handed species. But how does that ancient evolutionary trait actually show up in a single human being today? How does a baby, before it even touches a tool or takes a single step, somehow become right-handed during just 9 months of development in the womb?
Part 3. The prenatal hormone puzzle.
To understand the micro-level biology happening right at the very beginning of life, researchers Uner Tan and Maliha Tan looked at how chemicals in umbilical cord blood actually influence newborns. But to really appreciate their work, we first need to look at what scientists used to believe. For years, the leading idea was the Geschwind-Behangalaberta, or GBG hypothesis. The GBG model argued that high levels of testosterone in the womb slowed down the normal development of the left side of the brain. And since the left brain controls the right side of the body, they hypothesized that this high testosterone would weaken right-handedness, ultimately creating left-handed people.
So the crucial point is that when Tan and Tan actually tested this in modern newborns, the old GBG hypothesis completely fell apart. The old myth basically assumed high testosterone equaled left-handedness. But the actual hard hormonal data from umbilical cord blood showed the exact opposite. They found that the mean free testosterone concentration was significantly higher in right-handers than in left-handers, and that held true for both males and females.
Part 4. Testing the grasp reflex.
Now you might be wondering, how on earth do you determine if a baby is right-handed when they're literally only 3 to 5 days old? It's not like you can hand them a tiny pencil and see what they do. Well, researchers used this remarkably clever, totally non-invasive methodology. They tested the newborn's involuntary grasp reflex to measure their spinal motor asymmetry way before their conscious brain even took over. The exact process was wonderfully simple. They attached a small balloon to an injector connected to an O-meter. When the balloon touched the baby's palm, their little fingers would reflexively close around it, allowing the researchers to measure the exact grip strength. They'd trigger the right hand, then the left hand, alternating for 10 trials. By calculating the difference between the right and left grip strengths, they could mathematically determine the baby's baseline motor asymmetry.
And this brilliantly illustrates what they found. When you map the free testosterone levels against those babies' reflex strengths, there is a totally clear, significant positive correlation. As free testosterone increased in the womb, the rightward bias increased right along with it, and conversely, left-handedness increased as those testosterone levels dropped.
Let's quickly summarize what this incredible micro-level data is telling us. First, right-handers are exposed to higher free testosterone in utero, completely flipping the old scientific consensus on its head. Second, handedness is largely determined before you are even born, dictated by hormones acting directly on the spinal motor system. You see, the cerebral cortex isn't fully developed at birth, so this early spinal motor lateralization acts as a sort of blueprint. The brain's cortical motor control actually develops later on, mapping itself based on the feedback it gets from this already asymmetrical spinal system. It's pretty mind-blowing.
So we leave off with this thought to ponder. Is your right-handedness a product of millions of years of hominin brain expansion and walking upright, or is it a product of the specific hormonal bath you experienced in the womb? Well, as the research shows, it's a profound interconnected mix of both. We are walking, talking evolutionary outliers shaped by an ancient macro-level shift in our posture and then fine-tuned by a micro-level wash of prenatal biology. It's a wonderfully complex recipe that makes us uniquely human. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the science behind your everyday life.